Hey guys, what is up? JT Tapias here. It is 7:45 p.m. and I'm getting ready to go to bed here very soon because I go to bed before 9 p.m. every night so that I can get up crazy early. I have a speaking gig tomorrow, and so I want to make sure I'm energized, I'm acute, and I'm on my toes. So I'm going to bed early. But one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about before actually going to bed has to do with how I make difficult decisions in my life or in my business. Usually what I do is I tend to get really, really quiet. I try to find a day or two where I can just reflect, and I don't have a lot of interactions with people in those times. I try to shut my phone off and try to take all distractions out of my life so that I could just get quiet, right? And listen and just try to reflect and try to make that best decision. And I put all my efforts to really, really just embrace that quietness. And on top of that, I add rationality to it. So I use the pros and cons method, which is basically on one line, I write all the pros, all the good things that can happen. On the other side, I write all the cons, all the things that can go wrong. And then I'll kind of outweigh those, right? And for a long time, I used to make my decisions based on rationality. And sometimes it was good and sometimes they were bad. But I would say 80% of the time they were pretty off, even though I was applying all the rationality, I was keeping quiet, and decision making wasn't necessarily the best. And so on an annual basis, what I do is I tend to, instead of having a bunch of goals and things that I want to accomplish for the year, what I do is I actually create a theme for that year. One year it was growth, the other year it was structure. And so this particular year, when I did structure as a theme for the year, I wanted to create systems and structure in my life for all areas of my life, specifically decision making. And one of the solid things that I came up with that's proven to work every single time like clockwork is guiding principles. So let me share with you a little bit what guiding principles are. About 14, 15 years ago, I took this little document right here. I don't know if you can see that. And I wrote down everything that I wanted to be as a person, like who was the ideal person for me. And as I started to accomplish some of those things, I highlighted those areas that I was conquering, right? So, I wanted to completely eliminate alcohol out of my life. That was just my decision. And at the time I used to be an occasional drinker. So I accomplished that, right? I haven't had a drink in 8 years. Don't miss it. Don't want it. Anyway, I took it out of my life. I wanted to, at that point in my life, I wasn't a Christian. I wanted to embrace spirituality for whatever reason. Well, a couple of years after that, I embraced Christianity, and I highlighted that, and so on and so forth. I highlighted every single one of these things. I hit every single one of these goals. The other one was, what kind of courses and credentials and diplomas did I want to get? What type of career did I want? And I broke every single thing down. Hence the reason I'm here today, and I'm going to speak tomorrow. This is one of the things that I wrote down in my ideal career. I wanted to be able to speak and travel, and I get to stay in pretty hotels like this. And so that was something that I put down on paper. I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what my time was worth. And so I put down how much I wanted to make by the age of 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. I really structured all these things. And I can tell you that I've hit every single one of these goals. And then I wanted the ideal female. I was single at the time. I was trying to figure out, what do I want in a wife, right? And, I wanted her to be attractive. I wanted her to be personable. I wanted her to be spiritual. I wanted her to be devoted. I wanted her to have a career. I wanted her to be about 27 years old because I figured, at that time, they're probably mature and et cetera, et cetera. I wanted a brunette. I wanted her with green eyes. I mean, I got into that many details, guys. And I can tell you that I highlighted every single one of these things about my wife. And I met my wife, and I hit every single one of these things that I wanted from the ideal wife, but one, which is interesting. I said that I wanted my wife to have green eyes. Well, my wife does not have green eyes. She is a brunette, and I hit every single other aspect and characteristic, not just physically, but internally, and who she was as a person and all these things, but she didn't have the green eyes. But guess what? My daughter, Sarah Mia, who is now 3, has green eyes. So there's a lot of power behind this, guys. I wrote down my ideal family. I wrote down the things that I wanted to embrace in my life, the friends that I wanted to embrace, the goals that I wanted to embrace. I wrote everything down, guys. These are my guiding principles. I wanted to basically architecture my life in a way, structure my life in a way where I wasn't just living by default. I was actually choosing the things intentionally that I wanted in life. And I wrote all these things down. Now, this is not some foo-foo, pop psychology, silliness. It is truly powerful, because when you have something in your mind, you write it down. It's already manifested by you just putting it down on paper. And then your subconscious goes to work. You start to make choices, make decisions based around these guiding principles. So hence the reason I'm talking to you about this today. One of the best ways to make difficult decisions in my business and in my life, in any area of life, has to go through the grid of my ideals, the ideal things that I want. So when something comes into my life, no matter how pressing, how motivating, how attractive, how whatever that situation may be, I run it by this grid and I say, is this part of my ideal life? And if it's not, it's an easy decision. I just put it aside and I move forward, and I feel like a 1,000-pound gorilla came off my shoulders because I made a solid decision. So if you don't have guiding principles in your life, I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or however old you are or however young you are, create some guiding principles in your life that will dictate how you make decisions in life. And I promise, when those difficult decisions come into your life, you're not going to be stuck, because you're going to know exactly what it is you want. And if they're not aligned with your ideals, then you simply just kick them out. And it's one of the best ways to make decisions. I hope you get something out of this. I'm JT Tapias, and I will see you soon. Ciao.